This week, Business Secretary Sajid Javid has announced a review of those bewilderingly complex terms and conditions which appear in so many consumer contracts, and he wants them to be more user-friendly. Well, the industry body for commercial radio, Radiocentre, will also be submitting its views to Mr Javid.
Financial caveats or risk warnings in advertising exist to protect consumers. Under current regulations, they are often long and complex and are unrealistic about how much information a listener can absorb. The effect on radio is disproportionate because it is the only medium where the warnings have to be read out in real time. As a result, many financial and credit advertisers avoid using radio. The total cost of Ts&Cs to radio owners and advertisers is calculated to be around £120 million every year. Radiocentre set out to persuade regulators to improve the warnings. Credible, robust research was the cornerstone of the case to provide regulators with firm evidence of what works. Our research has also attracted national media coverage in press and on BBC Radio. Media owners and advertisers had long complained about the efficacy of long, garbled Ts&Cs in radio. These objections had been relatively easy for regulators to dismiss. After all, the regulations exist to protect consumers, not to make life easy for advertisers. The only way to persuade regulators to change was to use research. First, to quantify the extent to which the current Ts&Cs did not achieve the goal of informing people about the risks of credit deals. And second, to demonstrate how they could be improved to help better protect consumers. An online survey of 800 commercial radio listeners was split into two matched samples. Each group was played the same ad, but with a different version of the terms and conditions at the end. One had the full version as required by current regulations. The other had a more concise alternative, focusing on the most important details. This allowed us to measure the differences in response to each advertisement, including recall of vital information. 3 surveys were conducted over a period of 2 years, most recently in January 2016. Each survey designed to build on the last by addressing specific issues under discussion with regulators. The results were overwhelming. More concise financial terms and conditions are easier for consumers to absorb and recall. People don't want advertising to provide detail about Ts&Cs. Less than a third of listeners claim to pay attention, and over 70% would rather go to other sources, such as websites, for more information. Crucially, people don't remember important figures if they are lost in complex legal warnings. Recall is less than 4% for a radio ad, with a fully worked credit example. Less is more. Radio ads focusing only on critical detail more than double spontaneous recall of the key numbers. This research has helped inform regulators of the importance of simplifying terms and conditions in the interests of consumer protection and led to a number of important changes benefiting advertisers across all media. The project has helped sway opinion by achieving significant coverage in The Guardian, Independent and on Radio 4's Moneybox programme. It has also formed the backbone of Radiocentre's EU lobbying programme around the Consumer Credit Directive, helping to gain the support of Treasury, Department for Business, Innovation and Skills, DCMS, consumer organisations and MEPs. Radiocentre's case for a review of the Consumer Credit Directive, informed by the research, is through to round 2 of the EU's deregulation programme REFIT. The research was highlighted by the Financial Conduct Authority as valuable support in informing their decision to reduce the initially proposed risk warning for payday loan ads from 38 words to 14 words. This makes them easier to understand and at the same time reduces the proportion of the commercial required to read these by around 10 seconds. The results of a further FCA consultation announced in May this year saw the exemption of 0% finance offers from the need to include a full representative example, typically reducing the length of Ts&Cs by over 50%.
Garbled terms and conditions that you listen to on a radio advert don't really help the consumer, but actually they put a lot of financial companies off advertising on the radio. And the Radiocentre is the first organisation to actually do some research on this and look at a way forward, which I know that UK and European regulators are now looking at.